You're watching Channel 4 News here with Gray Carter Matthews and
Makai New.
And today we have a special news report for you on the legacy of the Civil War. The Civil War lasted from 1861 to 1865, and it was a defining moment in American history. The main conflict was slavery. More specifically, it was about the South fighting to preserve slavery,
While the North fought against slavery. One of the most significant milestones in the Civil War was Abraham Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation in 1863.
and what the Emancipation Proclamation did was free slaves, but only in the South, which is really suspicious because Abraham Lincoln was with the North, and the North said they were fighting against slavery, but slavery was still legal in the North?
Well, the North did have a good excuse.
The North used slaves to strengthen their army to fight against the South's slave owners. On the other hand, the Emancipation Proclamation was pretty devastating to the Confederates because they were slave dependent. What I mean by this is slavery is how the Confederates made money. The Confederates made money from slavery because the slaves would do manual labor producing goods that the slave owners would then sell for money, such as sugar, tobacco, coffee, cocoa, and later cotton. Now here's a visual representation that'll give you a good idea of how most of the actual battles of the Civil War went. Surprisingly, the Union won the Civil War with the help of the slaves in 1865.
This victory led to the passage of the 13th Amendment, which formally abolished slavery throughout the United States.
Despite slavery legally being abolished, it still lingers today because some Americans have taken advantage of the loophole in the 13th Amendment, which allows prisons to force prisoners to do manual labor, which can still be considered slavery.
African Americans still face unfair treatment long after the abolishment of slavery.
By unfair treatment, we mean there were still segregation issues, such as different housing, healthcare, education, employment, and transportation for African Americans. But thankfully, almost 100 years later, there was a rebirth of activism with the Civil Rights Movement, led by advocates like Martin Luther King Jr., advocating for equality, desegregation, and voting rights for African Americans. Some figures that you've probably heard of that have played a huge role in the American Civil Rights Movement are Martin Luther King Jr., Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. As we honor the memory of those who fought for peace and equality during the Civil War, it is important to recognize that the work of justice is ongoing. People are talking more about unfair stuff like whether to keep Confederate statues or teach history different in school. It's part of a bigger effort to recognize past problems and make things fairer in everyone's future.
This concludes our special report on the legacy of the Civil War and slavery.
Thank you for watching.